Welcome to the Gold Proving Grounds guide for Arms Warriors. These are the talents that I recommend taking, and these are the glyphs that I prefer to use. My stats are not currently optimized perfectly, and are set up primarily to tank. However, I do have the most stats into Mastery and Crit. Now, Warrior DPS has always seemed, at least Arms Warrior DPS, a little bit lackluster in its single target rotation, as it just seems that you have to run out of buttons to push at some point, and then you're just left spamming your AoE ability, Whirlwind, just to dump your rage a little bit, which just feels a little bit lackluster to me. Now, I still enjoy the DPS in the spec, mainly because I love bleeds. I always have loved classes that use bleeds, and Warrior's Rend is incredibly powerful right now. You just apply Rend is generally speaking going to over 50% of the way kill just about everything in here, with a couple exceptions near the end. Now Wave 1 is fairly simple, you don't really have much to do there. But now Wave 2 is your first of the new types of ads that you've got to deal with. And that's this large illusionary banana tosser. Now what the banana tosser does is he simply spams these bananas on you, which if they hit you, cause a drastic reduction in the damage you deal by causing you to miss a large portion of your attacks. There's two ways to handle that. One is to do what I just did right there and sit on top of him, because he will not throw bananas at you if you're in that little ring around him. And the other method of handling it is, of course, to just run in a circle and dodge it. The bananas are not a guaranteed hit. They will miss if you're running around. Now, of course, in this one, you want to focus the healer down first, so that's why you throw your stuff on that. As you can see, I threw the Rend on it, and he's already dead. 2 Rends and something dies. All you need, of course, is the time for the Rend to go off. And everything will die. As you can see, for those 2 mobs, literally almost all I did was drop Rend on them and then refresh it. This is another wave. I'm going to go ahead and blow Dragon's Roar Bloodlust right now. Interrupt that. Victory Rush. Execute. Execute. That again. And execute. And as you can see, he's already 23% dead with just that. And down he goes. I'm using a macro. That macros my Dragon's Roar and Bloodlust together. That way I only have to push one button. Now this wave is going to have another new ad that you have to deal with. And that's the Illusionary Banshee. Now what the Illusionary Banshees do is they have a little timer over their heads. If this timer goes out and you have not already killed them, then you will instantly fail the wave. Doesn't matter how much time you have left over here. If that timer goes off, you will instantly fail. So you must kill them in that amount of time. As you can see, these guys already have the damage on them enough. I think that's going to finish them off, so I don't need to do anything more to them. So always, 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 anytime a Banshee pops up, swap to it immediately. Always kill the Banshees first. Now in this wave, I'm going to go ahead and do that. Leap over here. Apply my bleeds on this guy. Go through a little bit of my rotation. I'm going to charge back over here, finish him off. And he's going to throw that heal off again. As you can see, I didn't actually have to interrupt hardly any of the heals in here, because they threw it on these vermin, which have too little health. So that's the trick that I always like to use in this wave. DPS the vermin a little bit first. You don't want to kill them first. Just DPS them down a bit first. And that'll cause the healers to throw their heals on them. And 1 Rend is almost enough to kill them. So just Rend to 2 targets if you really just want to do that. I just went ahead and Dragon's Roar and Whirlwinded in the middle. Just to do a little bit there. I just applied my bleed to everything. Make sure I interrupt that. And they got hit by that amber, which is going to make things easy right there. And that one died. Oh, shoot. Well, try not to let this happen, because this can be really problematic. If you get stunned at the wrong time and you can't just charge right over here and finish this bugger off, then you could just instantly fail the wave. And of course, always kill the freaking banshees anytime they spawn. Because if you don't, they'll instantly kill you after a short duration. I believe you have about 10 seconds to kill them. As you can see here, the bloodlusts are spawning, but you won't be using them until later on. Now becomes the waves that Arms Warriors almost seem to have a little bit of a problem with, because you have to do a large amount of damage in a brief amount of time, and Arms Warriors don't really have a lot of cooldowns to give them a powerful burst. It's more like their cooldowns are their abilities. And these large illusionary Shah, you can't really DPS them too much at the start, because they have a shield that cuts all damage they take back by 50%. So instead, what you have to do is just keep your damage refreshed and wait for that shield to fall off, and once it does, you blow your abilities and unload on them. Thankfully speaking, if you can actually get them low and get them into your execute phase, they'll die really quickly, because they take 300% additional damage during right then. But as you can see, it's sometimes a little bit closer to comfort than I would like. Make sure you interrupt that, and dodge that freaking monkey around. See, I'm just going to go ahead and do that, apply that, and that should be enough. Oh, make sure to interrupt that. Make sure to apply that, get back to the Shah because his shield's going to be going off. I'm going to go ahead and grab my Bloodlusting. As you can see, boom, blow that, get that. Execute. I grabbed one of the Bloodlusts, blow your Dragon's Roar, and as you can see, I just went over and refreshed my Ren, which is all I had to do on the monkey, and he died. Make sure you burn down that healer first, make sure you interrupt those heals, swap to the Banshee when they spawn, and things will go down without too much of an issue. And this last wave, of course, is the wave you'll want to blow Recklessness on, along with your grabbing the last Bloodlust, and things will go down without too much issue. There's really not much you have to do with that, with the Sarok right there. Just put your Rend on him and kind of forget him. You can activate Sweeping Strikes, I suppose, burn him down just a little bit. Whirlwind, Whirlwind, Whirlwind. But you really don't have to worry about him too much. Main thing is, kill the Banshee, of course, when it spawns. Down it goes. He's about to go become vulnerable. Grab the last Bloodlust, blow Recklessness, boom, boom. Your basic rotation. Execute, execute, Mortal Strike, Siege Breaker second. Oh, never mind, just spam execute. And another execute. And that's the wave. With your Recklessness going, and your, of course, the Bloodlust that you can pick up on the ground from that buff, and blowing all of your rest of your cooldowns, he goes down pretty simply. So, in summation, make sure you are running in circles and dodging the monkey's bananas whenever a monkey is alive. Always have your Rend on him. Make sure you burn down the healers first and interrupt any heals. Swap to the Banshees whenever they spawn, and properly time your DPS bursts on the Shah to when they become vulnerable, and you should be able to do this without too much of an issue. Thanks for watching, and I hope this helps.